Hey there, Toonami faithful, and welcome back aboard Toonami Absolution, where we talk about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. Once again, we are your hosts. My name is Alex.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John, and we're starting a new Western cartoon block, which has created a rabbit hole from which I may never escape. There is context to this. So, if you follow us on TikTok or Instagram, which I recommend you do, you may see I do extra videos there now and again. Usually, I like doing these videos where we go through sort of, if you're watching Toonami on a certain day, certain month, certain year, what would you see? It's been really cool for me sort of fixing my internal continuity of what Toonami US was. I discovered early on Toonami showed Super Friends. If you remember from Christmas, I like Wonder Woman the normal amount. So I thought, oh, I've never seen Super Friends. Let's watch Super Friends. Let me get some Wonder Woman in this podcast for various reasons. So I turned it on. I started watching through my off airs. This is a Super Friends. Because what Toonami said was Super Friends was not actually Super Friends. So originally, Super Friends was aired as part of Superheroes Weekend, which was the event Toonami had to promote the launch of Toonami. They showed two shows, Super Friends and SWAT Cats. This is really funny because because Super Friends wasn't on the original Toonami lineup, and SWAT Cats was never on Toonami. So the promotional marathon had nothing on Toonami. October 5th, 1998, Thundercats is removed from Toonami's schedule and replaced with what Toonami called Super Friends. It was put at 4:30 between Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. This went until January 99, so basically under a year, till they went, actually, no, it's Thundercats again. So what Toonami calls Super Friends is actually the Superman Batman Adventures, which was a show that debuted on USA Network in 1995 that took all of Filmation's cartoons, so the New Adventures of Superman, the Adventures of Superboy, the Superman Aquaman Hour, the Adventures of Batman, all from the 60s, and repackaged them as a new show, alongside some Super Friends shorts. Weirdly, though, these Super Friends shorts they show are from the 1983 season, which hadn't been aired on American TV. Super Friends got cancelled, but they kept making it for international markets. So the Super Friends lost episodes are what made their debut in this block. We won't be seeing many of them because they don't come until later on. So basically, this show is just this weird hodgepodge with a new title sequence and really obnoxious wipes. Obviously, because of legal reasons, a lot of this show has never been released on home media, so I got all the original shorts and edited them together myself. This has taken about 6 weeks. So, this is gauche to say, but follow this bloody channel to justify me spending 6 weeks editing 1960s Filmation shorts together. So
Smash that like button.
Please
Obliterate the subscribe button.
Do it to justify the question of what am I doing with my life, which is a question I asked myself several times during this project. So yeah, our first two, what I could pick from airings guides, are Partners in Peril, which debuted October 5th, 1998, which uses the short Partners in Peril from the Batman Superman Hour, which originally debuted in October 1968. Our second episode is The 9 Lives of Batman, which made its Toonami debut October 6, 1998, but it's from The Adventures of Batman from 1968. So a double 68 for you here. These are, as you can guess, these are from the 60s. So these are... if you're a kid at the time, you'd be very confused, because this is riffing on the live-action Batman series, kind of, but it's not like how Batman was in the 90s.
Yeah. So for those of you who would be a little confused by this, there was a weird period of animation history where lots live action shows were getting these like animated spin-offs. Like Star Trek had one too, like very famously had one. And they're very interesting because on some of these you have like actual comic book writers. Like there are actual people who are in the comic book space making these things, but they're also like very confusing.
They're very cheap, very cobbled together. We'll get to this for The 9 Lives of Batman, which is the most half-assed script I've seen in a while. Partners in Peril is a very weird start because basically the plot is all of Batman's rogue gallery team up to see who will become the new leader of Gotham's crime ring by pulling one crime each. But all the crimes are very weird, and like Penguin steals a statue, Joker steals... This is a Joker when he's still just a criminal, not a psychopath. It's like, oh, I'm going to steal an armored car. It's like, oh, Joker, you scamp.
Yeah, because if you know anything about the 1960s Batman series with Adam West and Burt Ward, it's very very campy. It's they were stealing stuff from the Star Trek set. The Star Trek set was stealing stuff from them. It was a very interesting time for that show. This is not the Batman that most people these days would know. They were more like Paul Dini, the Bruce Timm Batman. This is full on Silver Age Batman, get the bat repellent bat spray Batman. And old chum. Robin is going to be throwing out weird little puns. Holy guacamole, Batman. It's a very different time in this character's history. And I kind of love going back to that Batman sometimes. There's something very fun about it. Like remembering when Batman did some silly crap.
There is some fun to be had.
Yes. I actually have the Filmation Batman because they released the Filmation Batman on like home video a couple years ago. And so to see it in this kind of like edited form has been kind of a interesting reinvention or new approach to some of these stories. But yeah, they are very much of their. I mean, you have to think back in the late '68, one, Batman, the Adam West Burt Ward Batman is still very much on the air. Two, you've also got the Marvel, the first Spider-Man show, which kind of has the same level of animation quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of this weird thing where it's like kind of a Neil Adams Batman, but not really a Neil Adams Batman.
And the other thing to remember for those in the audience who don't know, the 60s era of comic books was very much informed by the Comics Code. So the Spider-Man hadn't yet had the heroine plot line with Harry Osborn. We haven't gotten to Death in the Family. We haven't gotten to Dark Knight Returns. The Silver Age of comics was informed by the Comics Code and what you could and could not do, and it was very, very strict. You could be a little tongue-in-cheek with it, you could be a little teasy with it, you could be very campy, but you couldn't do some of the stuff that comics post-1985 were going to be known for. So keep an open mind.
And you'll see that in these episodes because you'll note guns are not fired. Army men have guns, but they never fire them. They point them at people threateningly, and then something happens, which means they no longer have guns. Batman isn't allowed to throw batarangs directly at people, so we end up with situations where basically everyone gets lassoed. If you like people being lassoed, these are the cartoons for you. I think it's fun to... This is out now. Keep in mind, when these were made, the Batman film hadn't come out yet. Like, if you were a kid, this must have been so confusing. Just to go a bit more on the production of this, I think what's really funny is these episodes start. You can tell these shorts are shorts. They're only like 15. The Batman ones are 15 minutes. The Superman ones are 7 minutes. So they bulk these episodes out by having this long intro sequence where they introduce every hero. Yeah. Even if they're not in this episode. I've gone through off airs. That is what they did. And when they cut between them, they have an intro introducing the character. It's like, oh, Batman, the Caped Crusader. It's like, yes, we know. Like, this is the 90s, and we know who Batman is. But you go, why do they keep doing this? Oh, right. And why do they keep having these big, long wipes? Right, because these shorts are 17 minutes, and we've got to get them up to regulation standard. Because this is a half-hour slot they've got to fill.
Yeah.
And yeah, Casey Kasem is voicing Robin in these, which, if you don't know, he was the original voice of Shaggy, and despite being dead, is somehow still on the radio. And that is, it's fun hearing Casey Kasem be horribly sexist to Batgirl. That is the main theme of these episodes, that Batgirl is in them, but no one likes her. So you get a brilliant scene of Joker going, "You female," like he's posting on Reddit. He's like, oh god. There are some, I would say there are some funny lines. I like in the first episode, Riddler's minions, where he tells them to riddle them with your fists, boys. It's like,
that was my favorite thing.
Despite Riddler's voice being really weird, Ted Knight is the Riddler in this, and I don't know what voice he's doing, but it's not a voice I want to hear.
It's also very, like, the Riddler has a lot of very weird pauses in his speech, and I've watched the 1960s Batman show. I've watched the 66 Batman movie. I do not remember his actor doing
Frank
that. So
Gorshin, yeah.
yeah, I don't remember Frank Gorshin doing that in that role. So I don't know where these like weird. I don't know if it's a lip flaps thing
Well, yeah, and
or
he's also animated a bit differently and crazy. Yeah, he's wild. Ted Knight, fun fact, speaking of the Super Friends, would go on to be the narrator for the Super Friends. Um, so meanwhile, in the Hall of Justice, that's Ted Knight.
Yeah, we'll see him
Um,
once in the next like 10 weeks.
yeah. And Casey Kasem stayed on as Robin for Super Friends, but like in the Batman Adventure Hour or whatever the Filmation Batman show was called, Casey Kasem did like a bunch of voices. Like he's like the person, like he is the Chris Sabat of this production.
If you go on like the IMDb for these, you see like a lot of like lists. It's like, oh, this guy was Commissioner Gordon, this guy was Batman, Casey Kasem, every other character in this show.
Casey Kasem was making his money. He was making his money.
He was making the best of a bad script. Also, you'll notice how his Catwoman is green in this because obviously when you think of what color is a cat, you think green. This was her costume in the comic at the time. It had fish scales on it for some bizarre reason that I've never had anyone adequately explain to me. Apparently, it wasn't popular at the time because there was too much green in DC.
There was a lot of green going on in the 1960s in DC. Brainiac was becoming a lot bigger. You were getting like the Legion of Super Friends was becoming bigger. You were getting like the
Poison Ivy was created in 67. I mean,
Poison Ivy was 67.
She's
like
very green.
They had so much green ink at the time, and I think part of that was like back in the 40s and 50s they could only use red, blue, and yellow and black, and now they have the new color.
Next time I talk to Scott Snyder, I need to tell him to bring back fish scale Catwoman.
They're using that. They're using that costume for Aquaman's wife now.
No, they need to bring back Catwoman's tabby because obviously everyone in this show has minions who are all themed. Catwoman's are cat men, including one called Tabby who sounds like a granddad. So, oh, he just sounds so old. It's like, oh god, dude, you should have retired by now, man.
How do we feel about Riddler having like multiple Riddlemen?
Riddleman.
I love the Riddleman because they sound like a charming folk band.
I do like the Riddleman.
Yeah.
Riddle them with your fists is actually a very good line. Like there are some winners in these lines. Like somebody was putting a little extra effort in. I do like the big wheel that the Joker has to decide who's going to do the next crime, especially when the Penguin, who is like Burgess Meredith Penguin, which I genuinely really love, like just has his like weird umbrella scheme.
Just steals he just steals a statue. It's like the statue whose perspective keeps changing. So the statue's either 50 foot tall or 6 inches tall, depending on the week. This is a Joker who clearly does arts and crafts in his off time. Like he was like, we're not just going to draw lots. I'm going to make a wheel. I'm going to get some photos. Going to stick it all together. This Joker wanted to be a Blue Peter presenter. That was what caught him. He went mad and got rejected.
Remember, this is pre-Killing Joke, so we don't have like any Joker background stories to go off of. It's just a weird guy.
Yeah.
Can we get a modern Harley Quinn story where she just distracts him with crochet kits? That'd be great.
Isn't that what the Harley Quinn HBO series is about?
Yeah, but he hasn't specifically brought up crochet kits yet. I'm pitching myself as a writer for future seasons. I'm good at just distracting Joker episodes.
Back when
I would say the thing you'll note with these episodes is how many times they set something up and then just immediately undo it, which I think is amusing. The first episode has this because like the Riddler sets up a Batman maze on a road to trap the police. Batman's like, yeah, we have a bulldozer front. We're just going to knock straight through them. What was that? You wanted suspense and peril? No. That requires frames.
That requires more budget than this has, and also it's 1966, and we're just going to enjoy ourselves. Like.
I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to. I just wanted to like have a little flashback because I don't know how familiar both of you are with the 1966 Batman film. Like,
sure, yeah, of course.
Like I immediately when I saw Penguin and Catwoman and Riddler and Joker all together, I was like, this is just the film, but not as good.
To the point, I did wonder if that is why they started with that one, because it sounds a bit like the film. Because
Yeah.
it's such an odd epic. It's not even the first episode in the Batman Adventures. Like,
No, first episode of Batman Adventures is a Joker Penguin story.
yeah, it's like none of these episodes are shown in order in any way. But I love, for just a half-assed plot, the Nine Lives of Batman is my favorite. Just like, we've given up. So it starts off, Catwoman traps him in a room with 9 doors. Behind each one of these is a deadly plan I spent years devising. The first one's just a bloody panther behind the door. It's like, that couldn't have taken more than 20 minutes, surely. And that's,
Maybe 30 for the license.
that's like draft state. Like, I'm Catwoman, what do I put? Tiger behind the door. And then they just immediately break out of the gap. And like, okay, I put a bomb in your car. Oh, we've defused the bomb. Okay. What I've done actually is I've sprayed you with gas so you'll glow green so I know who Batman is. And Batman has to go and vote tomorrow because he's a lovely civic chap. So that's our plot. And then Bruce like, actually, no, we're just going to spray everyone else. So everyone else glows radioactive. Commissioner Gordon's probably going to get cancer from this. It's fine. As we all know in the Batman universe, getting disabled doesn't cause you any long-term problems. It only turns you into Two-Face.
Yeah.
Or Oracle, as will happen to Barbara Gordon later.
Oracle, or basically every other 60s villain who is just disabled and weird. Then she's like, oh, okay, I'm going to kidnap Robin and put him in quicksand. Okay, we got out of the quicksand. I'm going to throw a ring of fire at you. Okay. Basically, her traps are all bullshit away.
It's everything that you have stock assets for. Everybody's got goo. Everybody's got
Everyone's got goo
fire.
and quicksand.
Yeah, like this is they knocked on Hanna-Barbera's door and were like, "Hey, we need a couple of frames. Can we borrow some of yours?"
Yeah.
Everyone's got goo and quicksand is my new Tinder bio.
Yeah.
Can I just point out
Everyone's got goo and quicksand.
that's a t-shirt for the future. I want to point out the Nine Lives of Catwoman. The version I gave you is the unedited version. There is a censored cut.
How?
Can you guess what line is censored?
I can't.
No.
So when her and her lovely Catman go and rob a store, the narrator says, the feline felon and her terrible tabbies indulge in an orgy of stealing. That is the uncut version. Later versions cut it to a spree of stealing to remove the word orgy.
This is
maybe I'm just so desensitized to orgies now that I just kind of somebody says
what are
it.
you doing in Korea
I mean,
with Catmen.
with Catmen?
There's got to be a male cat theme cafe. I'm not gonna question it. I'm not gonna
There
Google
has
it
to be.
either.
I don't
You
know
have
about
to
Korea,
Google
but
it.
Tokyo might.
Oh,
Actually, no. There's one neighborhood in Seoul where anyway the
well, if you go after midnight, you can find anything you want for the right price.
Get whatever
Goo
you
and
like,
quicksand.
baby.
yeah
Quicksand and goo and cat maids.
yeah Riddleman.
Riddleman? That's extra. Riddleman cost extra.
Yeah.
Credit to Riddler, he is able to sneak up on the army with a group of inflatable Riddlers. Like, because they appear in a cut, but apparently in this universe, the guys can only see what's on screen at any moment. So they go, oh, there's lots of Riddlers. Like, how did he sneak all these up on you? They're like inflated.
Well, he's in his stealthy suit. So he just like in old movies where they'd be like sneaking in. He did that.
Yeah, like the Tom and Jerry sneak. Yeah.
Yeah, the Tom and Jerry stuff. Absolutely.
I'm honestly surprised they did not get that at least once during this, because we get every other weird Hanna-Barbera stock sound effect. We get a bit of wacky races.
Yeah.
We did get a bit of wacky races, and that did spark joy in me. I love wacky races.
Yeah.
It's so strange. Like, I wish I knew a child who saw this live, because it's like, what a weird thing to throw at people.
I remember watching these. I remember seeing these on these interstitial, basically.
Tell us how you felt.
It was like, so Cartoon Network had the syndication rights for Super Friends during the day. So you would watch Super Friends during the day, and it was just episodes of Challenge of the Super Friends, and it was like, great, cool. And so you would be watching Toonami, and it's like Super Friends, like, oh, cool. And clear similar animation styles about 5 years before Challenge of the Super Friends. But yeah, you would get these like, Batman, Superman, the Man of Steel, just like every single Last Son of Krypton, Man of Tomorrow, every single title you can to elongate that segment, like John was saying. And then you would get this like adventure, and it's like, okay, but where's the rest of the friends? Like, where's the it's just Aquaman. This is just an Aquaman adventure that you're showing me right
There's a
now.
lot of Aquaman in this package. A
One of
worrying amount of Aquaman in this package.
one of the directors on this, it was actually like a major Aquaman writer during this time, during like the 60s and 70s. So that's why there's so much Aquaman, is because in the 60s and 70s Aquaman was getting a big push in
Oh,
DC.
he
Well,
had his own animated series and he led it.
He he
you
did,
have
and
to
it was
rem
orange top Aquaman.
you have to remember, like in the 60s, like there was finally viable enough like cameras to really clearly capture underwater photography and filming in color. So a lot of like you had Sequest, you had like Jacques Cousteau was like in his element. James Bond had so many scuba diving adventures like Thunderball and stuff like that. So everybody loved Sea Hunt. See, like everybody loved underwater stuff. And it's like, who do we like I just in DC offices, who do we have that can like look, well, we got, we've had Aquaman since like the 40s, like put that son of a gun in everything.
What about the
Get him
Submariner?
off the
Jenkins,
bench.
get out of my office. Never
Get
mention
out
him
of
in
the
front of me.
bench.
Yeah, give
The
him his
sun.
own seahorse ride and sea Aqualad and an octopus and just do it.
And he can't be as sexy as the Submariner. He
Yeah.
cannot be that
He
sexy.
has to have a shirt on. We can't have having nipples.
Yeah.
What do you think we are? Germany?
What does this look like?
Well, it's so just funny to me because if when we get ahead, you'll note that all the Super Friends intro they have features a lot of people we're not gonna see
Never.
because it uses clips from Super Friends episodes that just weren't adapted. This
Yeah.
show, by the way, would later go on to Boomerang, and it is still shown on Boomerang, but Boomerang have the good sense to just show the shorts as ads
Yeah.
and not try and bulk it out to a half-hour slot. Good
They learned their
move.
lesson.
They, there's so much charm in a weird, like, these are weird. They're weird. They're
Oh,
weird, but
yeah.
there's so much charm in this like 60s comics code silver age Batman stuff. Like I what okay. One of my biggest things about Batman is I feel like Batman in the last like 15 years has basically become like the catch-all. Oh, he can do anything. He's so cool. Like I like dorky Batman. I like dorky Adam West Batman. I like that. I think it's very fun. I enjoy when Batman is not just like the
Grimdark.
best character ever.
Yeah.
I do like the Nine Lives of Catwoman even sort of lampshades that because when he gets out with his jet, she's like, he's got a hardware store on that belt. Like even at this early on, we are sort of already lampshading it.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's Adam West had been doing it for about 2 years prior, and it's just like where he's got the pellets for everything.
Get the shark repellent bat spray off
Yeah,
of my
the
belt,
bat
Robin.
is it the bat shark repellent or is the shark repellent bat?
It is the shark repellent bat spray, and the only reason why I know this is because I had to do it for a trivia contest because everybody was like, "Oh, the bat shark repellent." It's like it's not. It's the last thing. It's the shark repellent bat spray.
Which implies it has other uses. It also doubles as a deodorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has sprays for everything. He's Batman. God damn it.
To be fair, some of those 60s clones would repel a shark. They were musky.
Yeah.
Talking of weirdness, I really want to talk about the Toonami promos for this when this first debuted in the Toonami slot because they're weirdly apologetic.
Oh,
So
they
there's
know.
two
They know.
Moltar ones. Yeah. But the first one he's doing like a baseball sort of thing.
Yeah,
Like we have to tell you bad news. Thundercats have gone. We have to do what's best for the team. And then they immediately come out and say it's old by saying, yeah, get your superhero 101 from Toonami University. But what's really amused me was the second one with Moltar, where he goes, for the first time ever, Toonami is without the Thundercats. But hey, let's not focus on what we don't have. Let's focus on what we do have. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z, which from the future is the funniest statement. It's like, I'm sorry, kids, we don't have this 80s relic even your parents were bored with. We just have the two most iconic shows of the 90s that are going to transform the medium. Sorry about that. It's so weird now to see like the loss of Thundercats like being something that Toonami sounded like they were actually worried about, to the point they just had almost Adult Swim-esque bumpers. Like these feel like one of the early times I can find where Toonami basically broke the fourth wall a bit and were like, here's the production scare, guys. This is why the lineup's changing. I can only think this must have been a last-minute thing because something went wrong. Considering how quickly Thundercats comes back into the lineup, and that is treated like a special return.
It was probably just like a licensing hiccup.
Yeah, I would think that there was like some kind of licensing thing going on with Thundercats, because like that seems like an IP that had to have changed hands a couple of times.
I think I'm trying to remember if it was a Viacom show, which is to say CBS, and of course Cartoon Network is a Warner Brothers subsidiary. So I don't know if there was something like that kind of went down, but
because stuff
yeah,
like that happened with like He-Man and Masters of the Universe a couple of times, and like other like old, like other shows in that kind of genre. That happened with like Gem and the Holograms at one point, I think too.
I mean, at the same time, it's like you already have the broadcasting rights for Challenge of the Super Friends. Just move Challenge of the Super Friends.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like all the Moltar stuff is using clips from Challenge. He's not using the like for most of. There are sometimes they will show these Filmation clips in the promos, but they're mostly treating it like Super Friends. I don't. If anyone actually has a lead on that, I've emailed around and I've had no response from anybody. Probably because asking what was the license situation of Thundercats in 1999 probably gets you put on a list somewhere. But yeah, no, it's really interesting. So one of the first times I saw Toonami be, again, behind the scenes, pulling back that curtain and being like, yeah, okay, this is a problem. We know this show is old. Deal with it.
Deal with it. Especially, they have to put it up in the wake of Batman the Animated Series, which that's my generation's Batman. So this is going to be very confusing to a lot of kids.
Which I guess is probably why they went with because they do like, before Friends, there was Super Friends. It's like Superhero 101. They do portray it like this is a retro throwback. Can I just want to bring up, before we end, basically, the episodes that were shown around these first two is just really funny to me because Partners in Peril, before it you got Grandpa's Follies, Sailor Moon episode, and then The Battle Ends from DBZ. So the final Vegeta saga kind of thing. Just imagine going from Partners in Peril to the end of the Vegeta saga. But then what's even funny is the next one, Kitty Chaos was the Sailor Moon episode, which isn't a great Sailor Moon episode. But then it was the debut of a new goal, Namek.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this preempted the debut of new Dragon Ball episodes. So how many kids must have watched The 9 Lives of Batman just like, please end. I want to see where Goku goes next.
I probably did, now that I think about it. I probably had to have this was probably one of those instances where I saw this and was just like, why do they keep reintroducing the characters? Why do they keep doing that?
I think the only reason I don't remember this is because this is the time of day I would do my homework after coming back from school so I could watch Dragon Ball.
I mean, keep in mind, this was a very short period. Like October 5th, 1998 till January 1st, January 21st, 1999. This isn't even 6 months. They don't have, like, this goes and comes and goes so quickly.
Yeah, it's a wonder that I still remember this shit.
It is. Can't remember what you had for lunch today, but you can remember Filmation Batman. It is burned into our memories. I can remember it because I have to edit these bloody episodes together, so I see it when I close my eyes.
Yeah.
Think about the New York Comic Con panels you get to be on now just because you are an expert in this specific thing.
This 3 months of Toonami and Moltar's apologizing.
You're going to get invited to every retro New York Comic Con panel now.
I will not go. I would rather, because that would mean watching these episodes again. I am slightly bitter because again I came into thinking, oh man, Wonder Woman, my favorite superheroine, because I know she does a lot of stuff in Super Friends, and Marston was alive when Super Friends was being made, and
Which
like,
is
oh,
wild. Which is
yeah,
wild.
I love William Morton Marston so bloody much. The weird bondage man, and
Yeah.
then, but then I get
And
this.
lie detector inventor.
He did invent the lie detector. If you want to know how upset I was, we'll get to an episode later where I edit in a Wonder Woman segment to bulk the time out, specifically as we wouldn't see her, and I was so annoyed because we don't see her at all. She has no shorts of her own. The Super Friends episodes they pick are the one with the weird alien. I can see why Toonami probably don't bring this up very often in those fancy retrospectives they do. Again, I think I've said it once before. Toonami wasn't cool right off the bat, was it?
Had to fill the time. Had to fill the time.
Well, we are coming close to our end, so we do have to have some final thoughts. So let's hear it. What are our final thoughts?
Well, when John first mentioned he was doing Super Friends, I got really excited, and then he shared these clips that he very meticulously and put a lot of, time and energy into and edited together and resurrected, and I was like, oh, this isn't much like I was in 1998. I was like, this is not the Super Friends.
How do you think I feel? I will be fair. If I put aside my upset of not getting enough Wonder Woman, these two shorts, if you can see like the Partners in Power 99 and Batman, they are perfectly acceptable. They're not the worst Filmation would ever do. That is a low bar to clear, but they're not the worst. They are fun on their own. It's just so weird that 80 episodes of this were broadcast on Toonami between Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z. And yeah, why was this not the Super Friends? I do not know. And it's just, put yourself in the shoes of that kid who has just seen Usagi and all of her friends do all this cool stuff. And now it's like, Batman and Robin are going to make puns about salt and call each other old chum. But hang on, because Goku's about to kill a dude. What a weird, heady mix that must be.
Yeah, I'm very interested to discover more about the history of this. I think that the history is going to be very fun. I'm just like, I really was coming into it expecting the Super Friends, and it wasn't the Super Friends. that was, I was so like, oh man, I remember the Super Friends. I like the Super Friends, and I was just like, this doesn't feel. It feels like when you walked around the whole day with your shirt on backwards. Like, you know what I mean?
That is a review.
I usually don't.
Like if you accidentally put on your shirt backward, like one of those shirts that like doesn't have like a color gradient or something, it's just like a plain black t-shirt and you're wearing it backwards the whole day, it just doesn't feel right.
I will say it gets to a point where I'm just not sure anymore, where I've worn the shit out of a shirt and it's just like both sides have equally sagged, and it's just like I think this is right.
Yeah, it's that lack of certainty that I think that's it. It's the lack of certainty that I'm coming into this with. But that does mean we have pulled into our final destination. That's right. It is time for us to disembark from Toonami Absolution. We want to thank you once again for joining in talking about the shows that made us us and the shows that made you you. We have been your hosts. Most of you. We have been your hosts. My name is Alyx.
I'm Sam.
And I'm John.
And we'll see you next time.
In the Hall of Justice.
In the Hall of Justice.